I've got a question for you. How would a monk fundraise? Hi, I'm Brice Sokolowski, the founder of CatholicFundraiser.net. Behind me is, yes, that's the Catholic Vatican flag, and I'm up here in Detroit. It's a bit cold and it's a bit windy, so my apologies if my teeth start clampering, clacking, and some of the wind. But anyways, back to the question. How would and I'm going to be moving away from the noise of the street. How would a monk fundraise? Now, I'm going to tell you exactly how to do that, but first, make sure if you haven't already to download my free guide, the 10 Commandments to Catholic Fundraising. This is 10 things I think every Catholic should be doing when it comes to fundraising. It really helps you keep things aligned with your mission. I'm helping hundreds of Catholics with their fundraising, and they've all found these 10 things very, very helpful. So make sure that you download the free guide. Okay, how would a monk fundraise? Now, I've got 3 very simple things to share with you on how I think a monk would fundraise, because, well, I've actually helped religious communities with their fundraising, and this is what I've learned from them, and this is what we've done together. So the first thing is, and I wrote everything in my hand so I wouldn't forget it. The first thing is, let's talk about habits. Now, when we think of habit, obviously that's what they're wearing, their garments, it's a way of life, it's how they act, it's how they talk, it's their appearance. So habits is all about getting in, doing the right things, and that's why I recommended downloading the guide, the 10 Commandments to Catholic Fundraising. You've got to be doing things a specific way, okay? You can't just follow what other nonprofits are doing. You've got to do things a Catholic way. You've got to get into the right habits. Without the right habits, you're not really fundraising in a Catholic context, and Catholics might not be really attracted to what you're saying or what you're doing because you're just doing what you think nonprofits should be doing. And it's not necessarily the Catholic way. So that's the first way. The second way is, I'm a big believer in what I call, if you are doing God's will and you are following your vocation, God always provides. He always responds. So I'm a big believer in listening and paying attention. So don't want to get run over. You've got to be paying attention to the people that God is putting in your life. It's not a matter of just going around and asking people for donations. It's actually going around and paying attention to who God is putting in your life. As Catholics, and as mentioned in the Catechism, we can't do our vocations alone. I'm not talking about fundraising. I'm talking, if you're a religious, lay person, whatever you're doing, you cannot do this alone. You have to have a group of people around you. So fundraising involves asking people, obviously, but you can't ask people if you don't know who to ask. So you want to be paying attention to the people that God is providing. So listen, pay attention, even before you're asking somebody for a donation. So that's number 2, which I think a monk would be doing, is I think of a monk as someone very smart and they're paying attention. So that's number 2. And the third thing that I think a monk would do is act. When I hear the word act, I think the acts of the apostles. So, every now and again I see people with fundraising and they think, well, people will come, people are going to donate, they're going to believe in our mission. And there's this sense of not really going out and doing things, and not necessarily with fundraising, but even with their mission. They sit around and they wait to act until the donations come. And that's really not the way you need to be doing things, especially with your vocation. And even if you think that you need money to do things, well, scale it down. You probably don't need money if you can't find donors yet. So I think a monk would act even if he's alone, he doesn't have much, he acts. So that's the third thing that I think you should be doing with your fundraising, is just act, meaning do your mission, go out, do God's will, spread the message of what you're doing, listen and pay attention to the people around you, and get in the right habits, which is knowing what to say, knowing what to do, how to approach people, all that stuff. And a lot of that you can get from my free book. So this is Brice Sokolowski from Catholic Fundraiser. I'm going to go in and warm up. God love you, and I will see you next week.